Look, I need to be honest with you right from the start. There's something that nobody really talks about when it comes to women and wealth, and it's this. The way you think about money right now is probably holding you back more than any glass ceiling ever could. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. Because what I'm about to share with you over the next few minutes could completely change your financial future. And no, this isn't about budgeting tips or investment strategies or any of that surface level stuff you've heard a million times before. This is about recognizing whether you already have what I call a millionaire mindset. And trust me, you might be surprised to find out that you do. See, most women don't realize they're already thinking like future millionaires because nobody ever points out what that actually looks like for women specifically. And here's the thing. The way women build wealth is different from men. You face different challenges, you have different strengths, and honestly, you often have different goals. But here's what fascinates me. The women who end up building serious wealth all share certain mental patterns, certain ways of thinking that set them apart. And these patterns have nothing to do with what family you were born into or even what job you have right now. So right now, we're going into the signs that you already have this millionaire mindset. And if you don't see these signs in yourself yet, well, that's okay too, because once you understand what they are, you can start developing them. Because here's the truth. Becoming wealthy isn't about getting lucky or marrying rich or waiting for some big break. It's about how you think, how you see opportunities, and how you value yourself. Ready? Let's get into it. Sign number 1, you view money as a tool, not a goal. I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, obviously money is a tool. But hold on, because there's a massive difference between knowing this intellectually and actually living it. Here's what I mean. Most people, when they think about becoming wealthy, they picture a number. Maybe it's $1 million, maybe it's 5 million, whatever. They think once they hit that number, they've made it. But women with a millionaire mindset, they think completely differently. They don't chase numbers. They chase what those numbers can do. Let me break this down psychologically, because this is where it gets really interesting. When you view money as the goal itself, you're actually operating from a scarcity mindset. You're basically telling your brain that you don't have enough, that you need to hoard and protect and obsess over every dollar. And here's the thing. That mindset actually repels wealth. It keeps you small, keeps you scared, keeps you from taking the kinds of calculated risks that build real wealth. But when you see money as a tool, everything changes. You start asking different questions. Instead of, how can I save more? You ask, how can I use what I have to create more? Instead of, what if I lose it, you ask, what opportunities is this opening up for me? And this is especially important for women because, let's face it, we've been conditioned to have a weird relationship with money. We're told we're bad at math, that we're too emotional to invest, that we should let someone else handle the finances. So many of us grow up either afraid of money or obsessed with it in unhealthy ways. Women with millionaire mindsets have broken free from all of that. They see money the same way a carpenter sees a hammer. It's useful, it's necessary. But it's not the point. The point is what you're building. Maybe that's freedom to leave a job that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's the ability to support causes you believe in. Maybe it's creating generational wealth for your family. Whatever it is, the money is just the means to get there. And here's where this gets really practical. When you truly see money as a tool, you stop making emotional decisions about it. You stop panic selling investments when the market dips. You stop feeling guilty about charging what you're worth. You stop comparing your bank account to other people's and feeling either superior or inferior based on the numbers. Instead, you start thinking strategically. You ask yourself, what do I want to build in my life? And how can money help me build it? You become willing to invest in things that will multiply your resources, whether that's education, starting a business, or putting money in the market. You understand that money sitting in a savings account isn't really working for you. It's just sitting there. This shift also changes how you think about spending. Women with millionaire mindsets don't deprive themselves, but they also don't throw money at things that don't align with their bigger vision. They'll invest thousands in a course that will level up their skills, but they won't waste hundreds on clothes they'll wear once. See the difference? It's not about being cheap. It's about being intentional. And perhaps most importantly, when you see money as a tool, you stop letting it define your worth. Your value as a person isn't tied to your net worth. This frees you up to take bigger swings, to fail without feeling like a failure, to keep building even when things don't go as planned. Because the tool might break, but you're still the builder. You can always get new tools. Sign number 2, you invest in yourself without guilt. Okay, this second sign is huge, and it's probably the one that trips up more women than anything else. If you have a millionaire mindset, you invest in yourself without feeling guilty about it. And I'm not talking about getting your nails done or buying a latte, though there's nothing wrong with those things. I'm talking about serious investments in your growth, your skills, your future earning potential. Now, let's get it straight about why this is so hard for women specifically. We're literally trained from childhood to put everyone else first. Take care of others, don't be selfish, don't take up too much space. So when it comes time to drop $5,000 on a certification program or hire a coach or even just take time away from family to build a business, what happens? The guilt kicks in immediately. But here's what women with millionaire mindsets understand that others don't. Investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's actually the most generous thing you can do. Because when you increase your skills, your knowledge, your earning power, you're not just helping yourself. You're increasing your capacity to help everyone around you. Think about it this way. If you're on an airplane and the oxygen masks drop, they tell you to put yours on first before helping others. Why? Because you can't help anyone if you're passed out. The same principle applies to wealth building. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you definitely can't build wealth from a place of depletion. Women with millionaire mindsets get this on a deep level. They don't ask, can I afford this course? They ask, can I afford not to take this course? They understand that every dollar spent on legitimate self-improvement is likely to come back multiplied. That executive coach who costs $3,000, if she helps you negotiate a $20,000 raise, that's not an expense. That's an incredible return on investment. But here's where it gets tricky, and I want to be really clear about this. There's a difference between investing in yourself and throwing money at every self-help program that comes along. Women with millionaire mindsets are strategic about their self-investment. They do their research, they choose programs and mentors that align with their specific goals, and they actually do the work once they've invested. They also understand that investing in yourself isn't always about spending money. Sometimes it's about investing time. Maybe that means waking up an hour earlier to work on your side business. Maybe it means saying no to social obligations so you can finish that certification. Maybe it means having uncomfortable conversations with your family about needing space to grow. And this is really important. Women with millionaire mindsets don't wait for permission to invest in themselves. They don't need their partner's approval to sign up for that course. They don't need their friends to understand why they're prioritizing their business over brunch. They don't need their parents to agree with their career pivot. They give themselves permission because they understand that nobody else is going to build their wealth for them. The psychological shift here is massive. When you invest in yourself without guilt, you're essentially saying, I am worth investing in. My dreams matter. My growth matters. My financial future matters. And that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you treat yourself like someone worth investing in, you show up differently. You negotiate harder. You take bigger risks. You don't settle for less than your worth. I also want to address something that comes up a lot. The fear that investing in yourself makes you a bad mother, partner, daughter, whatever. This is such garbage, but so many women believe it. Here's the truth. The best thing you can do for the people you love is become the fullest, most capable version of yourself. Your kids need to see you pursuing your dreams. Your partner benefits when you're fulfilled and financially empowered. Everyone in your life wins when you win. So if you find yourself hesitating before investing in that program, that coach, that education, ask yourself if the hesitation is coming from genuine financial wisdom or from guilt. If it's guilt, recognize it for what it is. Programming that's keeping you small. Women with millionaire mindsets have learned to push past that guilt and invest in their growth anyway. Because they know that every investment in themselves is an investment in their future wealth. Sign number 3, you're building multiple income streams. This one's a game changer. If you have a millionaire mindset, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're building multiple income streams, and more importantly, you see this as normal, not overwhelming. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I can barely handle my one job. How am I supposed to manage multiple income streams? But here's the thing. Women with millionaire mindsets don't think about it that way. They don't see multiple income streams as multiple jobs. They see them as multiple opportunities, multiple safety nets, multiple ways to build wealth. Let me explain the psychology behind this, because it's fascinating. Most of us were raised with what I call the good job mentality. Get a good job, work hard, climb the ladder, retire with a pension. Except that world doesn't exist anymore, does it? Pensions are gone, job security is a myth, and inflation is eating away at those good job salaries faster than ever. Women with millionaire mindsets recognize this shift early. They understand that relying on one source of income, no matter how good that source is actually the risky move. Think about it. If you only have one income stream and something happens to it, you're at 0. But if you have 5 income streams and one disappears, you're still at 80%. But here's what's really interesting about how millionaire-minded women approach this. They don't just randomly start side hustles. They're strategic about building income streams that make sense together. Maybe you're a marketing manager who starts consulting on the side, then creates a course teaching small businesses how to market themselves, then becomes an affiliate for marketing tools you actually use and believe in. See how each stream builds on your existing expertise? This is completely different from the hustle culture nonsense that tells you to drive Uber after your day job until you burn out. Women with millionaire mindsets build income streams that complement each other, that can grow without requiring proportionally more of their time. And let's address the elephant in the room, time. Because I know you're thinking, when? When am I supposed to build these income streams? Here's the mindset shift. Millionaire-minded women don't find time. They make it. They understand that building wealth requires some sacrifice in the short term. Maybe that means less Netflix. Maybe that means hiring help with household tasks. Maybe that means saying no to commitments that don't serve their goals. They also understand something crucial about income streams. Not all of them need to be active. Yes, you might start with active income streams like consulting or freelancing, but the goal is to build toward passive or semi-passive income. That might be rental properties, dividend-paying investments, digital products that sell while you sleep, or businesses that eventually run without your daily involvement. Here's another key point. Women with millionaire mindsets don't wait until they feel ready to start building multiple income streams. They start where they are, with what they have. Maybe that's selling your expertise for an hour of consulting here and there. Maybe it's creating content that can be monetized later. Maybe it's investing small amounts regularly, so dividends can become an income stream down the road. They also don't let perfectionism stop them. Your first income stream outside your job doesn't need to replace your salary, it just needs to exist. Even an extra $200 a month is an income stream. It's proof that you can create money outside of your regular job. And that proof, that's powerful. It changes how you see yourself and what's possible. What's really important to understand is that millionaire-minded women see multiple income streams as a form of self-care. Yeah, you heard that right. Because financial stress is one of the biggest stressors in women's lives. When you have multiple income streams, you sleep better. You negotiate harder at your day job because you're not desperate. You can leave toxic situations because you have options. That's self-care on a whole different level. And here's something nobody talks about. Having multiple income streams actually makes you better at your main job. Why? Because you're constantly learning, growing, making connections. The skills you develop building income streams make you more valuable everywhere. The confidence you gain from creating your own money, that shows up in every area of your life. So if you find yourself with just one source of income and feeling nervous about it, that's actually a good sign. That nervousness is your millionaire mindset trying to emerge. The question isn't whether you should build multiple income streams. It's which one you're going to start with. Sign number 4. You network strategically, not socially. Okay, this fourth sign is something that makes a lot of women uncomfortable, but we need to talk about it. If you have a millionaire mindset, you network strategically, not just socially. And before you roll your eyes and think I'm telling you to become some fake calculating person who uses people, that's not what this is about at all. Here's the difference, and it's crucial. Social networking is when you connect with people because you like them, you have fun together, you share interests. And that's beautiful. We all need those connections. But strategic networking, that's when you intentionally build relationships with people who are where you want to be, who have knowledge you need, or who are on a similar journey of growth. Women with millionaire mindsets understand that who you surround yourself with directly impacts your wealth. It's not woo-woo, it's practical reality. If you're the smartest person in every room you're in the wrong rooms. If everyone around you thinks building wealth is impossible or shallow or not for people like us, guess what mindset you're going to absorb? But here's where women often get stuck. We've been conditioned to think that strategic networking is somehow dirty or manipulative, like we're using people. So we stick to our comfortable social circles. We don't reach out to that woman whose business we admire. We don't join that mastermind because it feels too aggressive. Meanwhile, women with millionaire mindsets have reframed this completely. They see strategic networking as building mutually beneficial relationships. They understand that connecting with successful people isn't about taking sing. It's about learning, growing, and eventually giving back. They know that iron sharpens iron, that being around people who are building wealth normalizes wealth building for them too. Here's what this looks like practically. Instead of only going to happy hour with coworkers who complain about money, they join professional organizations in their industry. Instead of scrolling social media passively, they engage meaningfully with people whose work they admire. They invest in conferences, masterminds, and communities where growth-minded women gather. And this is important. They don't show up to these spaces with their hand out, asking what they can get. They show up asking how they can contribute. They understand that the best networking isn't transactional, it's relational, but it's still strategic. They're building relationships with intention, not just randomly. They also understand something that took me years to learn. You don't need to be at someone's level to network with them. You just need to be genuine, interested, and willing to do the work. Successful women remember what it was like to be starting out. Many of them are happy to share wisdom with women who are serious about growth. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Strategic networking isn't about being fake or using people. It's about being intentional with your relationship energy. We all have limited time and energy for relationships. Women with millionaire mindsets choose to invest that energy in relationships that inspire them to grow, that challenge their limiting beliefs, that show them what's possible. And yes, they still have their fun social friendships, but they also have their growth relationships. They have mentors, accountability partners, and peers who are building alongside them. They understand that if you want to build wealth, you need to be around people who are doing it, who believe it's possible, who can share both strategies and mindset shifts. So if you find yourself only surrounded by people who think wealth is for other people, who discourage your ambitions, or who simply aren't interested in growth, that's a sign you need to network more strategically. Not because those people are bad, but because you need influences that align with where you're going, not just where you've been. Sign number 5. You're comfortable with calculated risk. This is where a lot of women get stuck. And I need to emphasize that word, calculated. We're not talking about gambling your rent money on cryptocurrency or quitting your job with no plan. We're talking about understanding that building wealth requires stepping outside your comfort zone in strategic ways. Here's what's fascinating about risk and women. Studies show that women are actually better at risk assessment than men. We tend to do more research, consider more factors, and think through consequences more thoroughly. But then, and here's the kicker, we often don't take the risk even when our analysis shows it's a good move. We know what we should do, but fear keeps us stuck. Women with millionaire mindsets have pushed past this. They still do their research, they still analyze carefully, but then they actually pull the trigger. They understand that the biggest risk is often taking no risk at all. Staying in that soul-sucking job because it's safe, that's a risk to your mental health and future earning potential. Not investing because you might lose money, that's a guaranteed loss to inflation. But here's how they think about risk differently. They don't ask, what if I fail? They ask, what if I succeed? And what will I learn either way? They understand that every calculated risk, whether it works out or not, teaches them something valuable. That failed business venture, it taught them what doesn't work, and that knowledge is invaluable for the next attempt. They also understand something crucial about risk tolerance. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise it with small calculated risks, the stronger it gets. Maybe you start by investing a small amount in the stock market just to get comfortable with the fluctuations. Maybe you take on a small freelance project to test your business skills. Each small risk you take and survive builds your confidence for bigger ones. And let's talk about what calculated actually means, because this is where millionaire-minded women excel. They don't just jump into things blindly. They research, they run numbers, they consider worst-case scenarios. But as second, and this is key, they also put a time limit on their analysis. They don't use research as a form of procrastination. They gather enough information to make an informed decision, then they make it. Here's another crucial point. Women with millionaire mindsets understand that not all risks are financial. Sometimes the risk is being vulnerable enough to ask for help. Sometimes it's the social risk of being seen as too ambitious. Sometimes it's the emotional risk of outgrowing certain relationships. They're willing to take these risks because they understand that wealth building isn't just about money. It's about becoming the person capable of creating and managing wealth. They also reframe failure completely. While most people view failure as proof that they shouldn't have tried, millionaire-minded women see it as data. The business that didn't work out, that's not a failure. That's market research. The investment that went down, that's tuition in the school of investing. They understand that the only real failure is not learning from the experience. What's truly powerful is how this comfort with calculated risk manifests in daily life. These women negotiate salaries without worrying they'll be seen as difficult. They pitch their ideas without needing a guarantee of success. They invest in opportunities without needing to know every possible outcome. They've made friends with uncertainty because they know that's where growth lives. So if you find yourself constantly choosing the safe option, always waiting for the perfect time, or analyzing opportunities to death without ever acting on them, pay attention. Your millionaire mindset might be trying to emerge, but fear is keeping it locked down. Remember, every woman who's built wealth had to take her first scary leap. The difference is, she actually leaped. Sign number 6. You focus on assets, not appearances. This last sign is probably the most visible difference between women with millionaire mindsets and everyone else. If you have a millionaire mindset, you focus on building assets, not maintaining appearances. And this one's tough, because society puts enormous pressure on women to look successful rather than be successful. Let me paint you a picture of what I mean. You know that woman with the designer bags, the luxury car lease, the apartment in the trendy neighborhood she can barely afford? She might look wealthy, but women with actual millionaire mindsets see right through it. They know the difference between looking rich and building wealth, and they choose wealth every single time. Here's the psychology behind this, and it's pretty profound. When you're focused on appearances, you're essentially living for other people's opinions. You're spending money you could be investing to impress people who, honestly, aren't paying that much attention anyway. But when you focus on assets, you're building for your future self. You're playing a completely different game. Women with millionaire mindsets understand a fundamental truth. Assets put money in your pocket, appearances take money out. That designer bag, unless you're reselling it for more than you paid, it's not an asset. That expensive car lease, you're literally paying for depreciation. Meanwhile, that rental property you could have bought with the same money, that's putting cash in your pocket every month. But here's where it gets complicated for women specifically. We face way more pressure about our appearance than men do. We're judged on how we look, what we wear, how put together we seem. So choosing to drive an older car while you save for investments, or wearing the same outfit multiple times while you build your business, That takes real courage. Women with millionaire mindsets have made peace with this. They understand that true confidence comes from knowing your net worth is growing, not from carrying a bag that costs more than some people's rent. They've opted out of the comparison game because they understand it's designed to keep you broke. And let me be clear about something. This doesn't mean living like a monk or never enjoying nice things. Millionaire-minded women absolutely buy quality items and enjoy luxuries. The difference is timing and priority. They build the assets first, then let the assets pay for the lifestyle. They don't go into debt for appearances while their investment accounts sit empty. Here's what this looks like practically. Instead of upgrading to a luxury apartment, they buy a modest place and rent out a room. Instead of leasing a BMW, they drive a reliable Toyota and invest the difference. Instead of a closet full of trendy clothes, they build a smaller wardrobe of quality basics and invest in their business. They also understand something crucial about appearances. The people who matter don't care, and the people who care don't matter. Your real friends don't care what car you drive. Serious business connections care about your ideas and execution, not your designer shoes. The only people impressed by excessive displays of wealth are usually people who don't have any. This mindset shift also changes how they think about experiences. While everyone else is posting Instagram photos from expensive vacations they're still paying off, millionaire-minded women are traveling strategically. Maybe they're attending conferences that grow their network, or visiting places where their investment dollars go further. They're building memories and wealth, not sacrificing one for the other. What's really powerful about focusing on assets is how it compounds over time. Every dollar you don't spend impressing others is a dollar you can invest. And invested dollars grow, they multiply. They work for you while you sleep. Meanwhile, that expensive appearance-focused lifestyle, it requires constant feeding. You need to keep earning just to maintain it. Women with millionaire mindsets get almost gleeful about this. They love knowing that while everyone assumes they can't afford the flashy lifestyle, they're quietly building wealth that will last. They understand that real wealth whispers, it doesn't shout. They'd rather be secretly rich than publicly broke. So if you find yourself stressed about keeping up appearances, constantly comparing yourself to others, or spending money you don't have to look successful, that's your sign. Your millionaire mindset is trying to redirect that energy toward building real wealth. The question is, are you brave enough to stop performing wealth and start building it? You know what? If you've made it this far, something inside you is ready for more. Something inside you knows you're capable of building real wealth, not just dreaming about it. And that knowing, that's everything. The truth is, developing a millionaire mindset isn't about becoming someone different. It's about finally becoming who you really are. Someone who values herself enough to build wealth, someone who trusts herself enough to take calculated risks, someone who sees her potential clearly enough to invest in it. This isn't about money, not really. It's about power. The power to make choices. The power to leave situations that don't serve you. The power to help others from a place of abundance, not scarcity. The power to show your daughters, your sisters, your friends what's possible when a woman decides she's worthy of wealth. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing from what we've discussed today. Just one. Maybe it's finally starting that side income stream you've been thinking about. Maybe it's joining that mastermind that scares you a little. Maybe it's simply deciding that from now on, you're going to think like the wealthy woman you're becoming, not the broke woman you might have been. Whatever it is, start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today. Because the only difference between women who build wealth and women who don't is that the wealthy ones started before they felt ready. They started scared, they started imperfectly, but they started. You have everything you need to build the wealth you desire. The question isn't whether you can do it. The only question is, will you? The choice is yours. Choose wealth, choose yourself, choose to start now.